Hello, travelers and monster catchers abound. I'm Stella Ferris, and this is the Monster Catchers Journal podcast. This episode, I'll talk about a few glyphs. I also have a discussion about some of our hieroglyphics. Although they're much like that of your world's Egypt, they are completely different, and they all have their own meaning. So let's start this podcast stories. So this next story is about a glyph called the infernodon. The infernodon is part demon, part pterodactyl. This glyph is found in the underworld, otherwise known to Nibirans as Hadris. I found the portal and crossed over, walking past a lava throne. I walked up to a mound where the infernodon was laying. I set my glyphid down on the ground and set it. The infernodon used Hell's Fury. It's a move that comes from Hell, even though Hell is not the same as the underworld here on Nibiru. Hell's Fury singed my hair and burned my face a bit. Lumapup popped out of his glyphid. "Don't hurt my Stella!" Lumapup shouted, as he used a ethereal trap to trap Infernodon in place, and a few moments later he was caught. And that's how I learned not to just go in with half a plan. Glyphs can be unpredictable. Even the smartest scholars are still learning about glyphs of all types. So be careful when hunting new glyphs. So, the next story I want to talk about is about a glyph that's called Terror Web. He's part shoebill and part spider crab. Terror Web is found in the toxic waters of the wastelands. They hide in the murky green mud. They're very aggressive, and his main three moves are Fine Web, Shutter Cluck, and Charge. Anyways, it was a warm summer night on Nibiru. The 2 suns and 3 moons beat down on the sands of terraformia. Everyone was in town for our biggest summer festival, but I was off on a more important endeavor to catch the terror web. I was deep in the Miremore forest. After searching for an hour, I spotted it in a large burdock tree. Clinging to a radioactive green web was terror web. I was trying my best to be quiet, but I stepped on a twig. Terrorweb's head shot towards me, and I knew I had to act quickly. I set my glyphid down and set it. Then Terrorweb used Webvine to knock me down to the ground. But he was fortunately pulled into the glyphid, and that is how I caught Terrorweb. I know it's not a long story, but that's how I caught him, and it's awesome. I have him in my sanctuary now. This third story is about a glyph called Night Plume. Night Plume uses explosive moves. He's agile and he can jump high. Night Plume is found near old mines and can blow up without dying. He is a bomb glyph. Anyways, the story takes place near the Jurek mines. I went down into the Jurek mines. It was dark, yet I kept going. I pulled my flashlight from my bag. The ceiling of the mines was filled with at least 100 dusk ribbons. I passed the dusk ribbons with ease. I kept going until I came to a large cavern full of landmines. And just as I was about to leave, I saw it. Perched on a landmine was Night Plume. Night Plume charged at me and blew up in my face. Right before I set the glyphid, I passed out right there on the cold stone of the mines. Luckily, my best friend Luna knew I was leaving that day, and she took me home. I woke up in a hospital bed. Where is it? I asked. What, your new glyph? He's in the sanctuary, Luna told me. I let out a sigh of relief as I fell back asleep. And that is how I caught Night Plume. I know these aren't very long stories, but these are the stories of how I caught these glyphs. Now that I've talked about a few glyphs, I want to talk about something called the verdalis plant. The verdalis plant is a towering emerald green plant. It's 10 feet tall with a colossal leaf that shimmers faintly due to its luminous, nutrient-rich sap. Its leaves have a velvety texture, while the center grows clusters of glowing lime-colored pods that resembles oversized translucent grapes. These pods pulse faintly, indicating their readiness to harvest. They're found in the dense rainforest and nutrient-rich wetlands. However, in the event that you own your own universal farming device that you can put near your garden, you can grow them anywhere. The verdalis thrives in areas with high humidity and abundant sunlight. It grows near bioluminescent fungi and other symbiotic plants, creating an otherworldly green glow at night. The sap and leaves are superfoods, rich in xylothrone, a compound that boosts energy and improves healing. The pods are especially prized for their ability to enhance mental focus and physical strength. Verdalis is eaten by many glyphs, and most well-known glyph to eat the plant is housestag. Verdalis is a delicacy for herbivorous glyphs. Consuming the leaves and pods grant them enhanced stamina and slightly improves their elemental abilities. The sap is particularly smooth and restorative for glyphs that rely on grass abilities. Next, we'll talk about the taste. It's rich and savory, akin to a mixture of spinach and basil with a hint of lemon. The pods are sweet and refreshing, with flavor similar to honeydew and peppermint. The sap is slightly tangy with a flavor reminiscent of fresh aloe and lime. So, we consume it raw or cooked in traditional Nibiru dishes. The sap is often used in teas, or we can use it for like a topical healing gel. And glyphs eat verdalis plants before battle or challenging tasks because it gives them a temporary boost in health and abilities. Verdalis acts as a key store species in Nibiru's ecosystem, supporting a variety of fauna and glyphs that rely on its abundant nutrients. So I want to talk about some dishes we eat here on Nibiru, and that will be in a minute, so thank you guys for listening. Unsurprising, this first dish is called verdalis bloom wraps. It's made with large leaves of the verdalis plant. The wrap is wrapped around a mixture of glowing root vegetables, spiced mushrooms like fungi, and lime pods. So, this dish has an earthy, zesty, and slightly sweet flavor. We prepare this dish by steaming it and serving it with a drizzle of glow sauce made from the sap of the verdalis plant. So this next dish I want to talk about is called glow fruit nectar soup. It's a warm soup made from glow fruit, a bioluminescent citrus-like fruit, combined with crystal clear spring water and tangy moss shavings. The flavor is a mix of sweet and sour with a soothing warmth. It's shimmering with golden herbs found in the Lumina forest. And there's not much to say about the soup because it's just a soup. I mean, just like you would have there on Earth. The next dish I want to talk about is the starlight grain risotto. It's a creamy dish using starlight grains which shimmer in the dark, cooked with a glowing verdalis sap broth and garnished with bioluminescent spices. It's rich and creamy with a subtle nutty undertone. This dish is eaten during Nibiru's Star Festival. Crystal root stew is the next one, and it's a hearty stew made from crystal root, a semi-translucent root vegetable, with a crunchy texture combined with a chunk of shadow beast fungus and savory herbs. The flavor is a deep, earthy hint with a bit of umami, commonly served to warriors in battle. The next thing I want to talk about is moon bread. It's a soft glowing bread baked with finely milled moon dust, grains, and infused with lunar sap, giving it a silver sheen. It's slightly sweet with a hint of vanilla and lavender, often paired with soups and stews during evening meals. The next food I want to talk about is sky bloom salad. It's a fresh salad of glowing sky bloom petals, verdalis leaves, sweet frostberry chunks, and crispy moon fern stalks, drizzled with red moon vinegar. It's fresh, refreshing, and tangy, known as the healthy choice of nibiru. Eclipse noodles, thin dark noodles made from eclipse moss, served in a thick savory broth with chunks of fire flower tubers in verdalis pots. This dish is smoky and slightly spicy. The noodles glow faintly in the dark. You're going to notice a lot of the food I talk about actually glows in the dark because that's how it is on my planet. And I know that this podcast wasn't supposed to have stuff like this because I just didn't want to talk about stuff with my planet. But I kind of changed my mind because, there's so much to talk about when it comes to my planet. But we'll have some stuff like this in there, thrown in there with, the stuff about the glyphs and how I caught them and everything, leading up to where I am now. The next food I want to talk about is called solar fruit tart. And it's a dessert made from solar fruit, a golden juicy fruit with a tart flavor. It's baked in a crust of crushed star grain and topped with verdalis pot glaze. This dish is sweet and tangy with a flaky texture. This dish is typically served during weddings and harvest festivals. The next thing I want to talk about is the nebula kebabs. Skewers of roasted nebula beets, glowing verdalis pods, and spicy ember peppers, seasoned with crystal root powder. This dish is a mix of sweet, spicy, and smoky flavors. A favorite of Nibirans. Also a favorite during outdoor feast. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is frost vine ice cream. And it's a frozen dessert made from liquid of frost vine, a cold resistant plant combined with crushed glow fruit and sweet nectar. This dish is refreshingly cold, sweet, and citrusy. It sparkles faintly, giving off a cool mist. And the next one I want to talk about is the carnivora bloom. It's a large crimson-colored plant with thick, fleshy petals that resemble slabs of raw meat. Its leaves are glossy and veined, resembling tennants, and it emits a faint, savory aroma to attract smaller critters. At its core, it has bulbous meat-like pods that regenerate over time. The plant's roots are shaped like claws, anchoring it to the ground firmly. These are found in every biome, and they can adapt to any weather. It thrives on nutrient-rich soil, and it feeds like an animal. The meat pods, also known as crimson heart, are the only source of meat we Nibirans consume. They are high in protein and essential nutrients, making them a vital part of the diet. The pods must be harvested carefully, as the plant has natural defenses, such as spiked leaves that create a paralyzing toxin. The pods have a taste similar to slow-roasted beef, with a hint of smokiness, making them a culinary delicacy when cooked. The flavor deepens and develops a tender, juicy texture. The carnivora bloom is considered sacred, and Nibirans only harvest its pods. During special ceremonies that luckily happen every day. The required ritual of gratitude is to ensure its cycle of regeneration and to ensure that it's respected. Only skilled gatherers, called crimson keepers, are trained to collect the pods without hurting the plant. Luckily for me, I can buy as much carnivora bloom as I want at the verdant market. While it provides substance for us Nibirans, the plant also plays a role in the ecosystem by feeding on small animals and insects that get trapped in its sticky nectar. Carnivorous behavior makes it self-sustaining and reduces its dependency on soil nutrients. Pods are roasted, grilled, or stewed, often paired with verdalis leaves or starlight grain. The sap is used as a smoky marinade. The toxin in the leaves of the carnivora bloom are used to make pain relief medicine. The fibrous tendons in the leaves are used to create strange elastic threads for crafting. And let me tell you, the strange elastic threads are very strong. We call them elastic threads. It's simple. I want to talk about the verdant market and its store system. So it's all kind of like your all-in-one Walmart, but on Earth, but it's not Walmart because, I mean, this is a different planet, different solar system. But anyways, the Verdant Market is a sprawling superstore style hub for all things Glyph Keeper related. Think of it as the ultimate one-stop shop, combining everything essential of a supermarket with the adventure-ready tools of a supply depot. All infused with Nibiru's unique alien charm, it's where Glyph Keepers stock up on food, gear, and treasures before heading out into the wild. And where your mama probably shops for your dinner. And yes, I'm aware I just called myself an alien because, I mean, I don't know, I like it, okay? So there is sections in this superstore, and one of the sections is called the Glow Grow, which is the food section. This area is lined with glowing shelves stocked with Nibiru's finest culinary goods, catering to both glyph keepers and their glyphs, and families that are wanting food, stuff like that. Vibrant displays change color depending on the food type. So these are the items that are for sale. So there's glyph food, specifically formulated for the type of glyph you're trying to, get. So there's Crimson Hearts, which is meat-like pods from the carnivora plume, popular among carnivorous glyphs. The Glowberries, which are energy-boosting fruits for forest and grass-typed glyphs. Frost Caps, which are cooling treats for ice-type glyphs. And the Scorched Fruit Jerky, which is fiery snacks for fire-type glyphs. Now the human food. Nibiru loaves, which is bread baked with bioluminescent grains. Starfall melons, which is sweet, juicy fruit with glowing seeds. Luminade, which is a glowing drink that refreshes us along after long days out in the sun or after long battles. Ashen meats, spicy smoked cuts of meat popular across the planet, which are also made with the same thing as what the glyphs eat. Crimson Hearts. We love Crimson Hearts. And there's a special feature for this building, and it's a build your own glyph snack station, which allows keepers to mix different ingredients to create a customized meal for their glyphs. So here's Keeper Essentials section of the store, which is in equipment and supplies, like I said, for your glyphs. This section offers the necessities for glyphs, hunting, and exploration. Shelves are packed with glowing devices, potions, and tools organized by adventure category. Items for sale usually are like adventure gear, like the crystal lantern, the sand shoes, magnet rope, and weather cloak. So the crystal lantern is a long-lasting light source for dark caves. The sand shoes helps travelers shifting dooms without sinking. Magnet rope is a grappling hook that latches onto any surface, and weather cloak it protects you against storms, sand, and extreme heat. Healing and recovery section of this part of the store. There's the Moon Dew Elixir, which restores Glyph's energy after battles. The Solar Bandages, which quickly heals wrapped injuries. Venom Vial, which neutralizes poison-based attacks. Capture devices is where we can buy our standard glyphids. So, basic glyphids is the standard tool for capturing common glyphs. Charged glyphids, which holds more difficult glyphs that have higher energy levels. And then the snare prism glyph, which is one that immobilizes fleeing glyphs temporarily. Now, glyph training gear. So, glow runes. It helps glyphs learn new abilities. Focus spear improves accuracy for range glyphs. Special feature of this store. A graphic assistant helps recommend the best gear for your adventure based on the region you're exploring. Now, the Verdalis Cafe. Quick bites and rest stop. Located in the center of the market, the Verdalis Cafe is a rest zone for keepers and travelers to grab a bite or relax before heading out. And the menu that I want to highlight, the menu items that I want to highlight are as followed. Lunar noodles, which is a glowing noodle soup that soothes the mind and boosts energy. Comet fries, which is a spicy, crispy snack made from starlight potatoes. Meteor milkshakes, which is sweet, creamy drink that's infused with glowing fruit. And then the glyph treat platters, a mix of crimson hearts, frost capes, and glow berries for glyphs to enjoy while you eat. The fourth section of the store, which is the fourth floor, it's the collector's corner. Rare items and treasures is what you will find there. So the back of the store holds limited time, high value items for serious keepers looking to upgrade their gear or glyphs abilities. And the items for sale is as follows. Evo shards, catalysts that trigger evolutions in specific glyph types. Starlight compass helps to locate rare glyphs in the wild. And the glyph harmony amulet strengthens the bond between a keeper and their glyphs. The timeless glass seeds used to slow down fast-moving glyphs for easier capture. And the special feature of this part of the store is a weekly rotating display of rare items keeps customers coming back. So, store features. Weekly sales and discounts are normally done a lot because, they like keeping us coming back and buying more. But anyways, every week, a different theme, like Forest Glyph Week or Ice Explorer specials, highlight specific items and offer discounts. So the Verdant Market offers a very special program, and they give you this verdalis keeper card, which offers perks like exclusive items, discounts, and early access to collector's corner treasures. So the trade-in system is keepers can trade unwanted items, rare materials, or even capture glyphs for store credit. And there's something really cool, like there's an interactive staff that are very funny. They got a great personality, and they actually help you in anything that you want. Like they'll make sure that you have everything you need. So there's a cheerful but overly enthusiastic person at the door who announces sales as you enter, and the inventory manager is a sarcastic, overworked robot who provides items and recommendations. The cafe barista is a glyph keeper who moonlights as a barista and loves swapping adventure stories. So at self-checkout pyramids, for quick shopping, floating pyramids let keepers scan and purchase items without waiting in line. The Verdant Market is very awesome. It's so cool. I love it. They sell a lot of really cool stuff, and there's like 4 to 5 different levels. The final level of the store, nobody has ever been able to go into, so we don't know what's there. So let me tell you about the wildest day I've ever had in the Verdant Market. So there I was, standing at the entrance of the Glow Grove, completely ready to grab the one thing I'd been hunting for weeks. A starlight compass. My journal said it was the key to tracking some of the rarest glyphs in Nibiru, and I wasn't about to miss my chance. Problem? It was the day of the Verdant flash sale. The market was chaos, people and glyphs everywhere, merchants shouting, and I swear one merchant was juggling glowberries to grab attention. I'd barely taken a few steps into the crowd when someone yelled, "They're auctioning the compass in the collector's corner." My heart sank. An auction? That meant I'd have to race to get there before it was gone. I didn't hesitate. Orabeak launched into the sky, scouting the fastest path through the madness. Every step of the way was like battling the market itself. A cart full of crimson hearts toppled over in front of me, nearly tripping me up. Tetradactyl saved the day, rolling through with a shell spin, nudging the cart aside just enough for me to dash through. Then I hit the Artisan's Forge district, where a sudden burst of molten sparks from a smithy almost singed my boots. Lumapup lit a safer path through the smoke, its glowing fur cutting through the haze. Finally, I made it to the collector's corner, and there it was, the compass, sitting behind glass, glowing faintly. But I wasn't alone. Dralok, one of the more competitive keepers, was already there, and he wasn't going to let it go without a fight. The auction began, and Dralok kept raising the bid. My wallet was running on fumes, so I had to think fast. Then I remembered. While wandering the Glowpath Bazaar earlier, I'd picked up a venom shard, a rare item I'd found for a still. I offered it as part of my bid. The merchant's eyes lit up. "You've got a deal," they said, handing me the compass just as Dralok stormed off, muttering curses under his breath. Walking out of the collector's corner with the compass in hand, yeah, that was a victory worth every second of the chaos. Orabeak landed on my shoulder, giving a triumphant chirp, and I knew this adventure was just getting started. So this story is called The Missing Glyph Treats. Let me tell you about the time the verdant market almost collapsed under chaos, all because of missing snacks. I was in the Glow Grove looking for some supplies for my glyphs, when I noticed the Build Your Own Glyph snack pack station was surrounded by angry keepers and restless glyphs. The dispensers, usually full of glowberries, crimson hearts, and frost caps, were empty, completely empty. The merchant in charge, Rylan Gree, was frantic. Someone's stolen the treats, he yelled. Now I wasn't planning on getting involved, but seeing all those hungry glyphs whining and growling, I couldn't ignore it. I offered my help. First, I called on Shadowclaw to scout the area. Its glowing talons cut through some dense underbrush near the market's edge, uncovering the trail of berry juice that was my first clue. Reaperfish stayed close to the sand, picking up claw marks near the ground. Then, with the powerful gust of wind, Chaos Serpent cleared away the debris, revealing an empty, torn sack of crimson hearts, stuck in a tree. Someone or something was hauling the goods out of the Glow Grove. Following the trail led us to an abandoned stall in the Artisan's Forge district. That's where we saw the mimic glyphs. Shapeshifters that had taken the form of barrels and treat bags. As we got closer, one of the barrels moved, revealing sharp, glowing eyes. The leaders screeched, and the rest of the mimics sprang to life, scattering with their stolen snacks. It was chaos. I sent Orabeak to blind the mimics with an aura burst. Meanwhile, Lumapup let out a lunar howl, disorienting the fleeing creatures. But the mimics were fast, slipping through the cracks and around the corner. That's when Tetradactyl rolled in, using its shell spin to block their escape route. Finally, Reaperfish unleashed a phantom surge, shadowy tendrils wrapping around the lead mimic and pinning it down. The rest of the group scattered into the forest, leaving the stolen goods behind. We returned the treats to Rylan. The entire Glow Grove erupted in cheers. Rylan even gave me a lifetime discount at his stall. As I watched the happy glyphs munching on their favorite snacks, I couldn't help but laugh. It's not every day you save a market from collapsing over stolen food. And with that, travelers and monster catchers abound, I am done with this episode. So, I'm glad you guys came by and listened to these riveting tales of how I caught some glyphs, and my riveting tales of how I traversed the verdant market. So, from now on, there will be a few stories thrown in about places around Nibiru and things that I done on that day, like traversing the verdant market. And that will be thrown in along with the glyph stories. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode, and I wanted to thank you for listening to this episode, and I will see you next week on Monday. Veshatal no wraith. And that means may the twin suns guide your path until we meet again.